I've been an actuary since 1988, which means that I must be quite old, but I don't feel old, I feel very young and enthusiastic, because being an actuary is great fun. Really enjoyed being an actuary. Why did I become an actuary? I was going to become a maths teacher actually, because I don't really come from a mathematical family. I come from medical, and my father was a minister, and growing up through school I loved maths and I loved music, and kind of naturally thought the natural place to be was being a teacher. So then I got a chance of doing a PhD, so I did a PhD in number theory and supercomputers, and during that time got a chance to teach and realised that teaching was fun, but I liked doing more. So I started to think again about actuarial work, because the university I went to, a lot of people went to become actuaries. That was Glasgow University. And a friend of a friend turned out to be Douglas McKinnon, who ran Scottish Mutual, and I went to see him and he offered me a job, and we decided I'd finish my PhD and then go and work for him, and that's what I did. So I kind of fell into it, but I'm very grateful that I did, because I can't think of a career that I would rather do in business, particularly in business and using the mathematical skills that actuaries have. I've been involved with the profession since almost as soon as I qualified. In those days, if a colleague wanted off a committee, they had to find a replacement, and so I became a member of the Careers Committee quite soon after I qualified, so that Colin Kirkwood could get off it. And I really enjoyed that and ended up becoming the chairman of that, then moved on to the Education Committee, then on to the Education and CPD Board, and then the Life Board. Was put on council many years ago and enjoyed that, and held various office bearer posts too. So I feel I've had a great time, and I'm still having a great time. I've got hopefully many years ahead of me as an actuary, but I really enjoy that. It appeals to many aspects of what I hold dear. I think it's important for several reasons. Firstly, I enjoy doing it, and I like meeting people, I enjoy learning, and I enjoy contributing something to the profession. So it's something that appeals to me, and therefore it's important for me to do that. I think for actuaries in general, I always encourage people to get involved. We're a relatively small profession. If we don't take part in helping it to grow and develop and be what we want it to be, then, as Charles Thompson once said to me, we'll end up with the profession that we deserve. And I don't want that. I want the profession that we want and that we deserve to have it, because we've all worked together to make it that. I think it's important for people in terms of building a network, just to grow their own skills, grow their awareness of what's going on elsewhere, to not be in the little silo of their own company or their own practice area, but to hear other people's views and get to know other folk. And volunteering is an ideal way to do that. And I think it also helps you be well known in the profession, and if you want to go and move employers, then you end up being, it's easier to do that. And maybe there's a personal note there, as many people know I'm about to leave Standard Life to go and join Deloitte, and one of the reasons I think Deloitte want me as a partner is because I'm well known in the profession. I've got a lot of links and a lot of experience that I can bring to bear. So it's benefited me, and I hope it's benefited the profession, my involvement with it. I think the thing I enjoy most is meeting people and getting to know folk in other firms, other parts of the country, from other backgrounds, and actually making friends. I also enjoy discussing issues. I'm keen on learning things. So if you're volunteering in a research group or a working party, then you're learning and you're breaking new ground sometimes, and that's always exciting and challenging. And part of the sort of the administration of the profession, you get the satisfaction of making a difference and moving things forward. So it's a whole combination of things. The executive have made a huge difference to life as a volunteer. I think the first thing is when they're good to work with, and I've been privileged to work with some great people in the actuarial profession. I think I hesitate to start to mention names, but as I was thinking of what I wanted to say, there are some people that I would like to mention, Trevor Watkins, I really enjoyed working with on the education side when he came in, and I feel made a real difference on that for us. There's a lot of people that I've worked with on committees. Craig just now, who supports the Life PEC, I enjoy his enthusiasm and desire to sort of help support the work of the Life PEC. But in the past, Pauline Simpson worked very hard, and I worked with her on a number of different committees, and she was always full of energy and desire to make a real difference, ably supported by Maria and Alistair on the publication side of things. Up in Edinburgh, in what was the faculty office, there's obviously Michael, there's Fiona, there's Kath, there's Mary, other people too, Greg, I can't remember all the names off the top of my head, I'm sorry if I've forgotten anybody. But there's so many good people in the profession who really want to make a difference and help move the profession forward. And so, as well as the friendship and the meeting people, I think there's also the sharing of the load. And I'm particularly conscious that I feel that that the profession, secretariat and executive, plays such an important part in making things happen. We can't have a profession that is just the actuaries doing things in their spare time. It's a much bigger thing than that. And in fact, some things we're not that good at as actuaries, and we need other people to come and do that, and in fact move us forward into places that we wouldn't naturally have gone, but are glad to be taken. I sense a real difference in the profession and what it feels to be a volunteer compared to 6-12 months ago or whatever. And I'm putting this down largely to Memoria's enthusiasm and Derek and the other members of the senior team and what they're wanting to do. The person I have most dealings with is Memoria Lewis, and her infectious enthusiasm and desire to do things, I think, is making a real difference. I sense now that it's not let's think about it, but let's think and then do something. Let's try stuff out. If it doesn't work, it's not the end of the world. We can try something else. So there's this infectious enthusiasm and imagination that's actually making things happen. So I feel that there's, in some ways it's actually easier to be a volunteer now than it was in the past, because I feel that there's much more happening from the Secretariat and from the Executive. And I think that's great, because it can't be easy running a profession of any sort of professional body, because the members in it will very often be very good in their own field and fall into the trap of thinking that they're very good in every field. So to come in and actually tell people that they're wrong and that they need to change is not easy, but I think we are fortunate that we've got a great team within the profession who are really starting to make a difference and winning people over. And I'm very excited about what that can mean for the profession going forward. Profession strategy has got a lot of really quite ambitious goals ahead of it. And I suppose the thing that I really want to see is that the relevance of the actuarial profession is seen in the outside world more and more, and that the professional body is seen more and more as relevant to its members. If you like, a relevant professional body for a relevant profession. And all these different initiatives build together and I think can get us there. The thinking in education is important. It would take a fair amount of listening and thinking through to decide exactly where people should stop off on different qualification levels. I've not been closely involved in the discussions this time round, but under the 2005 strategy we talked a lot about that. So I look forward to seeing what comes from that later this year. In terms of the licensing and regulation work, I think the foundation that Philip Moore and PREC have laid is a fantastic one, and to continue to build on that, to embed the Actuaries Code and recognise that modern professions need to continue to demonstrate the professional integrity and professional up-to-dateness, if you like, of its members. That's very important, and the profession needs to listen to what other professions are doing and continue to develop in the way that it's doing. I think that's been a great success, because I sit on BAS, the Board of Actuarial Standards, and so I hear some of the comments that Paul have been asking the profession, and I'm really glad that the profession is being seen to respond positively in so many of these initiatives. That's terribly important to me, and I think to the profession. I think member support, there's been a lot of advances done on that. Certainly member support towards volunteers, with a 400 club being formed, with volunteering opportunities being advertised on the website. It just feels so much more professional, and it feels that here's a member organisation that's wanting to listen to its members and take them with them as it develops the organisation, and that's very exciting. So well done to Debbie and Memori and the others involved in that. I think that's going to be very important. One of the other things I've noticed is some of the helpful new monthly emails that come out, like the regulatory email that pulls together relevant stuff and sort of hands it to people on a plate, and that, for busy professionals in business, that's a very helpful thing and feels sensitive to the needs of users. In terms of promotion, I think the appointment of Paul and Sarah to supplement the staff there, very, very important appointments. I don't think we can produce the sort of consultation responses and other public policy material that we want without having folk full-time dedicated to that, and I'm really pleased at the appointments that we made. I think we've got great staff there, great colleagues who will make a real difference, and already are starting to do that. And then the last area, in terms of thought leadership and learned society, that used to be called dissemination of actuarial thought many years ago, which is just as much of a mouthful. But what's very important is that we share our knowledge with each other, and that together we improve the body of knowledge and of actuarial insights across the piece. And that involves not reinventing wheels, but being aware of what's been invented in the past, and understanding when it becomes relevant in other areas, or just comes round again in relevance in terms of different points of the cycle. So I know we've talked for many years about using the web better and things like that. I feel we're now starting to make strides to make that happen. So I look forward to seeing what comes of that, because it's going to be very important to the profession. I think the future success of the profession is going to be down to close collaboration between members and the executive. As I said before, the members need to feel that the professional body is relevant, because the view of actuaries in the world, and say even just in Britain, to a certain extent it's a function of the individual actuaries people have met. But then most people won't ever have met an actuary. So if we're wanting to get Parliament listening, and other decision makers and opinion formers, then we need to be out there talking to them as a professional body. And that means we need to have important material to share with them. And that means that members need to help support the development of that. It's not down to just the two policy advisors. The Life PEC and the other PECs, we've got a part to play in that, and so will other volunteers too. But in terms of the whole member experience, what was nice in the faculty was we were relatively small, and we actually knew the people, and we used to visit the building for our exams and for various meetings and things, and we don't have that close connection with many of our members now. So we need to get that in other ways, and I think the demands on, everybody's got higher and higher demands of service from their different organisations, and I think a membership organisation is no different in that. But we need to make sure as members of the body that the staff who run our professional body feel appreciated and feel that they want to keep doing that. Staff engagement is terribly, terribly important, and I'm conscious that I feel the staff feel more engaged now than they have done at certain points in the past. So as members, we need to appreciate that and recognise that, and hopefully our appreciation will inspire even more great things coming from the Secretariat. And so it's going to be this. It's a partnership and close collaboration and cooperation, an appreciation of what each other brings, I think will mean that we'll have a great profession, one that we can be really proud of and be thrilled to be part of. Well, thanks very much for listening, everybody. I'm sorry I can't be with you. I would love to have been there. I was really quite touched when I was asked to come and speak to you. But sorry, I'm away on business in Canada. But I hope you have a good day. I hope you're having a good day. I think you've just had lunch. I hope it was tasty. But can I just say thanks very much for what you're doing. I hope what's come across in this brief interview is I really appreciate what you're doing. And it's not just me, it's some of my colleagues in the profession, in the membership, also realise that there's something different happening here and you're making it happen. So thanks very much for your hard work, and please keep up the good work. We need you and we need our profession. Thanks very much.